Hello children, so we are going to start with economics chapter people as resource. So in this first we are going to take the textbook reading as usual, and I have prepared some content for you that I'll be discussing throughout the video and explaining you the things stepwise. Okay, we are going to cover the chapter in the first part till this point here, and then in the next video we'll be taking the economic activities by men and women, and we will also be taking quality of population. So under that we are going to take the heading of education, and in the second part I'll be discussing health as well as unemployment. Okay, so in three parts we will finish the video. Alright, I hope I am audible to you this time, because the children said that ma'am please speak loudly, so I'm trying to speak loudly for you guys. Now in this overview, first let's see what the textbook has to say to us. So overview says the chapter people as resource is an effort to explain population as an asset for the economy rather than a liability. Okay, these two terms I've already written, I'll just explain it to you. So we'll go further. Population becomes human capital when there is investment made in the form of education, training and medical care. In fact, human capital is the stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in them. People as resource is a way of referring to a country's working population in terms of the existing productive skills and abilities. Looking at the population from this productive aspect emphasizes its ability to contribute to the creation of the gross national product. I will explain you that too. Like other resources, population also is a resource, a human resource. This is the positive side of a large population, that it is often overlooked when we look only at the negative side, considering only the problems of providing the population with food, education and access to health facilities. When the existing human resource is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, we call it human capital formation, that adds to the productive power of the country, just like physical capital formation. Investment in human capital through education, training, medical care yields a return just like investment in physical capital. This can be seen directly in the form of higher incomes earned because of higher productivity of the more educated or the better trained person, as well as the higher productive of healthier people. Now here in the blue box, we'll come back later. They have asked a question, we'll discuss it later. Let's read through it. Not only do the more educated and the healthier people gain their higher income, society also gains in other indirect ways, because the advantages of more educated or healthier population spread to those also who themselves were not directly educated or given health care. In fact, human capital is in one way superior to other resources like land and physical capital. Human resource can make use of land and capital. Land and capital cannot become useful on its own. For many decades in India, a large population has been considered a liability rather than an asset, but a large population need not be a burden for the economy. It can be turned into a productive asset by investment in human capital, for example, by spending resources on education and health for all, training of industrial and agriculture workers in the use of modern technology, useful scientific researches, and so on. The two following cases illustrate how people can try to become a more productive resource. So in this section, they have given you a story of Sakal and Vilas. We will be doing the similarities and differences, and then we will discuss the outcome of the story and what is the chapter trying to tell you. So let's start with first thing first. Now I have my first content here that says people as resource. Now when we are talking about people as resource, so what do they mean by saying a resource? Who is a resource here? Okay, so very clearly in your textbook they have mentioned people as a resource is a way of referring to a country's working population or people in terms of their existing productive skills and abilities. So that makes it clear that when the population, if it is productive, if it is working, if it is giving some outcome to the country, adding to the economy, or it is skilled or trained or educated, whatever, then it will be called as a resource. Okay, now when we talk about important terms, like you've seen the first paragraph, they say the chapter people as a resource is an effort to explain population as an asset for the economy rather than a liability. Now you have to understand first that what is a liability and what is an asset. Okay, so if in in normal terms, if I tell you, if I have to segregate these two terms, liability and asset. So liability, if I take say an example of a house, okay, if I talk about you all only. So if there is a father who has two sons or two kiddos or two children, then what are these children? They are dependent on the father, and these two children automatically become the liability of this father. Obviously he has given birth to him, so he has to take care of them, and they are not in an age where they can go and earn money for themselves, so automatically they become a liability for this fellow. Whereas if you talk about, say this fellow was rich and he had some savings, he bought two houses, okay, one he is living in and one he has given it on rent. He has rented one house. So what is this rented house doing? It is getting money out of it in the on the basis of rent. So these, or maybe we can talk about a car. My drawing is very pathetic, but if we talk about a car, so these properties that he is building, he is an asset, okay, to this man, because he's getting some money out of it. Okay, now when we take this in a form of population, okay, when we talk about in economics, then what is a liability and what is an asset? This was just to make you understand the definition, what is an asset and what is a liability. But when we try to interweave these definitions into population, then what will happen? Liability will be a population that is not working or that is not productive. An asset would be a population which is adding to the economy of a country. Okay, so these people who are working or adding to the economy of a country will become the asset, and liability will be the population that is not working. Now the core idea of this chapter is that when we talk about population, okay, a whole lot of population, like our country, when we stick to India, we have a large number of population. Okay, so should we consider it as a liability or should we consider it as an asset? So this large number of population can be considered as an asset, but under which terms can be consider this as an asset and not as a liability? Because we take it as a burden. Why we take it as a burden, as a liability? Because we have to feed these people, we have to see that they are not downtrodden in the country, we have to provide them with shelter, basic necessities, water, light, everything. Okay, so in that manner, what we need to do is we have to see that how this large number of population turn into an asset, and that is the core idea of the chapter, that a liability population needs to be turned into an asset. And this is exactly what we are going to see in this chapter as to how we need to do that. Okay, now in the background where you have studied about 4 factors of production in your first chapter, land, labor, capital and human capital. Okay, so very important thing that we learned was that these 3 factors, or for that matter land and labor, if we talk about, or we talk about the capital, there were 2 types of capital that you learn, physical and fixed. Now they all are dependent on the human capital. Okay, we need human capital to let or to assemble these 3 factors together to make something work, to make something grow, or to make something happen. If suppose there is no human capital, then these things themselves become useless, because land cannot use itself. Okay, now you might say, ma'am, labor to aadmi hote hain, to labor aadmi hote hain, but maybe they are illiterate, they may not be able to invest money, they may not be able to generate an idea, they may not be able to take risk. Okay, so who are these are the entrepreneurs, the human capital that bring all these factors together, and they are the ones who let these factors of production actually happen. So when can we turn a liability population, a large number of population which is a liability, into asset? When we turn these into human capital. Okay, when we turn these into human capital. And how it is possible to turn them into human capital? So they require different things, so we can provide them with education, we can give them skills, we can give them knowledge, then we can give them medical. Because even if we achieve these two things, then what will happen? Even if you are educated, even if you are skilled, but you are always unhygienic, you are always sick, if you are unhealthy, you are not going to the office 365 days in a year, then are you productive in any way? No, you cannot be productive in any way if you are not a healthy person. So all this requires to be given to your population to turn them into a human capital, so that the population becomes a fruitful one, an asset to the country. Okay, so where it is very important for you to understand the difference between human resource and human capital. Now I think so your textbook covers this, but anyways I have already written it for you. So when we talk about two major differences of human resource and human capital, so the people of a country are known as human resource. Okay, it may or not contribute significantly to the economy of a nation, so they become automatically, they become a liability if they are not providing or giving any outcome to the economy of the country. Whereas human capital is healthy and educated human population is known as human capital formation. So when you provide them with education skill and they are healthy, they can afford visits to doctor, they are hygienic in nature, then they form the capital formation, human capital, and they definitely contribute to the significantly to the economy of a nation. Okay, so these two are the things that you need to remember. Now let's go one step further in the explanation part. Now here comes the next thing, which is very important. It is sometimes confusing for the children, but I'll try to put it in a very simple manner for you. So let me go through this once more. The chapter told you that population becomes human capital when there is investment made in form of education, training and medical care. I explained you that factor, that is how it becomes, that is how the human capital formation takes place. So human capital is the stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in them. So if we provide them with these two factors, and for that matter a healthy population, then we have this liability population turning into an asset. Now people as resource is just, it means the working population or the existing productive population who has the skill and the ability is considered as people as resource. Now looking at the population from this productive aspect emphasizes its ability to contribute to the creation of gross national product. Now what is this gross national product? We have heard the word economy, that they are adding to the economy of the country, but then what is this gross national product? Okay, now there are two terms that are very important for you to understand. One is the gross domestic product and one is the gross national product. Okay, so they have only mentioned here gross national product, but you have to also understand the gross domestic product to understand gross national product. So let's see what is the major difference between it. I'm trying to make it very simple for you to understand at this level, because economics, when you go up in higher classes, they will definitely take you to this, the explanation. Now two things. Okay, two words you focus on first in the heading. This says gross domestic product, this says gross national product. अब डोमेस्टिक क्या होते हैं? जैसे हमने पेट्स रखे तो हम कहते हैं ये डोमेस्टिक एनिमल। डोमेस्टिक का क्या मतलब है? घरेलू, जो हम उसको घर में रख सकते हैं। तो ये एक तुम्हारा क्यू वर्ड हो गया कि ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक मीन्स समथिंग टू रिलेट विथ your own country, your own nation. Okay, gross national product means, here I have written transboundary, that means some other countries are also involved. Okay, so these are your keywords. Now what is the first definition of gross domestic product? What is gross domestic product? The value of final goods and services produced inside the boundary of a nation during 1 year or during a period of 1 year. Okay, पहले ये समझ लो. एंड ग्रॉस नेशनल प्रोडक्ट का मतलब क्या है? ट्रांस बाउंड्री इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी ऑफ एन इकोनॉमी इज एडेड, दैट इज जीडीपी यानी ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्लस इनकम फ्रॉम एब्रॉड. सो हियर द कीवर्ड इज एब्रॉड. अब इन दोनों का मतलब समझ लो. आई ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन यू इन हिंदी सो दैट मोस्ट ऑफ यू कैन ग्रैब इट. ओके, ग्रैस्प इट. नाउ दिस मीन्स कि अगर एक कंट्री में कोई भी गुड्स या सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस हो रही हैं किसी भी तरह की और उन्हें कोई भी कर रहा है, चाहे वो एक जर्मन है, चाहे वो एक इंडियन है, चाहे वो एक अरब है, चाहे वो एक अमेरिकन है, चाहे वो एक ऑस्ट्रेलियन है, तो उसको हम ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट में इन्वॉल्व करेंगे। अब ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट का मतलब क्या है कि ये जो आउटपुट है ये कहाँ हो रहा है, ये एक कंट्री में हो रहा है, एक रीजन में हो रहा है, एक जोग्राफिकल एरिया में हो रहा है, तो उसको जो भी कर रहा है, कोई भी कर रहा है, वी विल टेक इट इनटू द ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट ऑफ अ कंट्री। सो द फोकस पॉइंट इज दैट जीडीपी फोकसेस ऑन वेयर द आउटपुट इज प्रोड्यूस, यानी कि कहाँ हो रहा है। सपोज इंडिया में हो रहा है, ठीक है, ये यहाँ पे एक जर्मन भी अपना काम कर रहा है, अपनी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहा है, इन्वेस्ट किया उसने इंडिया में, इंडियंस भी अपना काम कर रहे हैं, एक ऑस्ट्रेलियन ने भी किया है। तो इनका जो भी ये गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, इन सबका काम हम जीडीपी में डालेंगे, ठीक है। और जीएनपी में क्या होता है, जीएनपी मीन्स मनी वैल्यू ऑफ एवरीथिंग प्रोड्यूस्ड इन इंडिया, ठीक है, जो भी प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है इंडिया में। इनकमिंग मनी फ्रॉम आउटसाइड, दैट इज इंडियंस दैट आर अर्निंग आउटसाइड, एंड आउटगोइंग मनी टू अब्रॉड, आउटगोइंग मनी टू अब्रॉड यानी कि ये लोग जो हमारे यहाँ इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, मगर दे आर जस्ट प्रोड्यूसिंग गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, बट वेयर इज द प्रॉफिट गोइंग, द प्रॉफिट इज गोइंग बैक टू देयर कंट्री। ओके, सो जीएनपी फोकसेस ऑन आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस बाय इंडियन नेशनल्स। अब मैं इसको एक सिंपल एग्जांपल से समझाती हूँ। जैसे कि समझो एक अपनी कोक की कंपनी है, ठीक है, कोक इज इन्वेस्टिंग इन इंडिया एंड अर्निंग मनी इन इंडिया, ठीक है। अब तुम देखो इंडिया में कितनी सारी इंटरनेशनल कंपनीज है हु हैज़ अ बेस इन इंडिया, आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग कोक हियर। So what will happen to it is giving its services, it is producing, it is manufacturing, so that part will be taken into GDP, your gross domestic product. But when you talk about the money part, the outcome part of it, the profit part of it, so what will happen to the profit part of it? Suppose Coke is a company, say from randomly from say Australia, so what will happen, its whole investment, its whole profit will not be added in India but in Australia. Okay, so that will included in the GDP but not in GNP. तो इंडिया के जीएनपी में इसको ऐड नहीं करेंगे, बल्कि इंडिया के जीडीपी में इसको ऐड करेंगे, ठीक है। अब इसी तरह देखो एक एग्जांपल ले लो प्रियंका चोपड़ा का, ठीक है। इफ़ सपोज प्रियंका चोपड़ा हैज़ गॉन अब्रॉड यूएस टू डू हर फिल्मिंग इन दैट क्वांटिको सीरियल, ओके, सो शी इज़ अ सिटीजन ऑफ व्हाट, शी इज़ अ सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया, okay, now she is working there, she is producing, she is acting, so that whatever services she is providing, that will be added in the GDP of USA. But the profit part, ओके, जो भी वो कमा के अपनी माँ को भेज रही है, यहाँ पे अपने बैंकों में डाल रही है, सब डाल रही है, तो वो इंडिया की जीएनपी में ऐड होगा, ठीक है, उसकी ग्रॉस नेशनल प्रोडक्ट जो हमारा है उसमें ऐड होगा। सपोज देखो ये एक और एग्जांपल, इफ़ यू आर एन इंडियन सिटीजन, ठीक है, बट यू वर्क इन यूएस, ओके, तो योर लेबर प्रोडक्शन विल बी काउंटेड टूवर्ड्स द जीएनपी ऑफ इंडिया एंड नॉट जीडीपी ऑफ इंडिया, क्योंकि आप कमा रहे हो, यू आर अर्निंग and you are somehow sending your earnings back in your country, okay, but these earnings will not be added in the GDP of India but rather in the GNP, so it will be our gross national product, so you are adding into the economy of the country. So within a geographical area, no matter who produce the goods and services, everything gets added up in the country's GDP, चाहे मैंने बोला ना, चाहे वो ऑस्ट्रेलियन हो, whether it is a Indian, whether it is a German, anybody, okay, so all of them who are producing or giving any type of service, so they are that will be added in that country's GDP wherever they are working. Suppose they all are in India, so they are producing, but suppose करो ये ऑस्ट्रेलियन है, तो he will send his money where, back in Australia, so that will not be added in our country, that will go into the GNP of Australia, okay, that will not be in our country. In the same manner, if this guy is a Japanese, okay, then what will happen, his GDP will be here in India but his GNP will go to Japan, okay, are you clear? In the same manner, if you see, take an example of a Japanese firm and an Australian firm, So what will happen? Japanese have invested into Australia and they are having a manufacturing unit there. So their goods and services will be taken as a GDP in Australia. But the Japanese are not putting up any profit or putting up any money back in Australia. So they are all their profit will be added back in Japan and Japan's GNP. So that becomes a major difference between gross domestic product and gross national product. Okay, now when we go further, they say that this is the positive side of a large population, that it is often overlooked. We look at the negative side, considering only the problems of providing the population with food, education, access to health facilities. When the existing human resource is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, we call it human capital formation. That adds to the productive power of the country, just like physical capital formation. So I told you the same thing, that when we talk about liability, a population as a liability, so we take this large number in a negative manner. But imagine if this large number is turned into a human capital formation and we take it as an asset, then what a wonderful population are we going to create here. Okay, so we only worry that how will we feed them, how will we educate them, how will we provide them with health care. But if we are able to do so, then this whole population will be an asset to our country. Okay, investment in human capital through education, training and medical yields return, just like investment in physical capital. This can be seen directly in the form of higher incomes earned because of higher productivity of more educated or better trained person, as well as the higher productive of healthier people. So this is an answer, you can say, for this question, how is the investment in physical capital and human capital similar? So if we see that when we have to invest into people, so how do we invest into people, into human capital? We have to give them education, we have to give them training, we have to give them medical. So this takes some time. Okay, it takes a while for a child. से बच्चा है स्कूल में है तो वो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन तो कॉलेज नहीं पहुंच जाएगा ना अगले दिन. इट विल टेक अ फ्यू years and till the time it is skilled, he might be maybe 25 years of age, till the time he might start working and putting or adding into the economy of the country. In the same manner, if you talk about physical capital, so what will happen to physical capital? If your physical capital means a fixed asset, you are growing the resources. Okay, so it becomes very similar here, that if the human capital is increasing, then obviously the physical capital or the resources will also keep on improving, and both need a initial investment into it. This can be seen directly in the form of higher incomes earned because of higher productivity of more educated and better trained. So जो human capital बनेगा, अब देखो यहाँ green revolution का एक example दिया है कि IT knowledge की. India's IT revolution is a striking instance of how importance of human capital has acquired to a higher position than that of a material plant and this. So human capital बढ़ा, ठीक है. इस ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन वॉज समबडीज आइडिया दैट वॉज जनरेटेड. ओके, इट इम्प्रूव द प्रोडक्शन टेक्नोलॉजी. ओके, एंड वॉट हैपन बिकॉज ऑफ दिस ह्यूमन कैपिटल, बिकॉज दे वर एजुकेटेड, दे वर स्किल्ड, दे टुक आउट अ प्रॉब्लम दैट हाउ सच अ लार्ज नंबर कैन बी फेड विथ quick quick growing of crops, like from one particular wheat strand, how many strands you are getting out of it. So then this is acquiring higher position that material plant and machinery. So obviously if this is improving, it will improve the resources also, so it will add to the physical capital as well. So this is a fine example given here. Okay, now when we go further, you will see they have given some pictures here, and they are asking, looking at the photograph, can you explain how doctor, teacher, engineer and tailor are an asset to the country? Now I'll just take an example of here of a teacher. So what is a teacher doing? Maybe we are working for salary, or maybe we are taking our class, but at the same time even we are taking wages for it, but under us so many children are further getting educated. Imagine a world without teachers, then who is going to educate whom? Okay, so obviously these are in some or the other manner, what are they doing? They are not only adding to the economy of the country, but at the same time, directly or indirectly, they are making the next generation knowledgeable or either skilled in small or big way. Okay, now let us see here. not only do not only do the more educated and healthier people gain through higher incomes, society also gains in other indirect ways. So this is what I gave you an example of a teacher, because the advantages of more educated or healthier population spread to those also who themselves were not directly educated or given health care. Okay, so this may go to this. Suppose if you talk about a doctor, so what is the doctor doing? His services will be given to somebody who is not even educated, who is not even given health care, but the doctor can give a free service of health care. It is into his hand. Okay, he might do a social service. In fact, human capital is one way superior to other resources. As I told you, that land, labor and capital cannot make use of its own. Land is fixed. Okay, capital is investment, so we need human capital for it. So superior to other resources like land and physical capital, human resource can make use of land and capital. Land and capital cannot be useful on it. if अगर एक लैंड है जो रिसोर्सेज से भरा हुआ है, डायमंड से भरा हुआ है, कोल से भरा हुआ है, मिनरल से भरा हुआ है, मगर उसको कोई माइन ही नहीं है, उस देयर इज़ नो कोल माइन, देयर आर नो minerals that we can extract out of those mines and then we can use it further, then it becomes a waste. Okay, so we are the ones who make it useful. For many decades in India, large population has been considered a liability than an asset, but a large population need to be burden, not be a burden for the economy. It can be turned into a productive asset. As I told you here, that what are the things that it can turn into an asset, so we need to make them more educated, more skilled, and we have to see that it is a healthy population. It can be turned into a productive asset by investment in human capital, for example by spending resources on education, health for all, training of industrial and agriculture workers in use of modern technology, useful scientific researches and so on. Now here they have shared a very beautiful story of Sakal and Vilas. Okay, so this question arises here, that is rise in population boon or a curse. Now let's see what is the story about this. Okay, now let's see some similarities in this story. You can read the story in the textbook later. So these two guys are belonging to the same village. They are almost of the same age. One is 11, one is 12. Financially they almost have the same class, so they are from the labor class. Okay, what is the difference? So when we talk about the first one here, that is Sakal, and this is Vilas. Okay, so Sakal's parent, you will find that the father is working at on an agricultural land, mother is a housewife. The parents are eager to teach the boy too is interested. Then they force him to join the school because he sees that one of his uncle is done his matriculation, but he's sitting idle at home. Then somehow the father is able to manage a loan, and then Sakal also manages to complete a vocational course in computer. He designs a software for his office and he gets promoted and rewarded. Now here when we see of Vilas, the father is a fisherman, he passes away, mother is working, so obviously when there's no father she has to work. Then as time passes, at a very young age Vishal gets arthritis. There is no money for him to visit the doctor because they are hardly earning 150 rupees per day or so. He is not interested in studies, and later the mother gets sick. There is nobody to support his family, and Vilas continues selling fish and earns a meager income. Okay, so when we talk about the story outcome, what are they trying to tell you? That when you compare these two stories, investment in human resource through education and medical will transform it into human capital. Now you saw out of the two, when the education and the health was given to one, that person started putting up productivity and adding to the economy, and he was transformed into a human capital. Okay, they will yield high returns in future, so they will keep on progressing and they will keep on adding up to their skills and knowledge. Whereas when you see the other person, he was stuck up in his own situation and he was able to do nothing about it. Rather, he was just stuck up like his mother, and he also started selling fish and he was earning that meager income. So there are two very important terms in economics, that they say virtuous cycle or circle, or they say vicious cycle or circle. So you can see here Here they have mentioned here vicious cycle may be created by disadvantaged parents who themselves uneducated and lacking in hygiene keep their children in a similar disadvantaged state. Okay, now when we talk about the vicious circle or the virtuous circle. So what is the meaning of vicious? In English, if we talk about vicious, it means evil, it means cruel. Okay, so according to this vicious circle, what happens? Poor keeps getting poorer. So what happens? There is a negative events of a chain of negative events that support one event to the other, that is reinforce them, and it worsen up with time, and it has detrimental results. So you can see how Vilas was not only an arthritis patient, but at the same time he also ended up selling fish in the mandi, and he became a part of this vicious cycle or circle. At the same time, if you see the other side of the story, when we talk about Sakal, so he became a part of this virtuous circle where the chain of events had favorable results. He got a job, he got an employment, and he was able to reap profit out of that. He became productivity. Okay, he became productive in nature. So these two terms are very important. So this story basically talks about the vicious circle and the virtuous circle. Now sometimes there is a disadvantage also, that like we read here, that how the parents also create such situations for the children where they are not interested to send their children to school, and hence the children poor, they lack education and they become a part of this vicious circle. Okay, so we have discussed the similarities and the differences between Sakal and Vishal, but I'm just making you go through it. That in the two case studies we saw, Sakal went to school and Vilas did not. Sakal was physically strong and healthy. There was no need for him to visit the doctor frequently. Vilas was patient of arthritis. He lacked the means to visit the doctor. Sakal acquired a degree in computer programming. Sakal found a job in private firm while Vilas continued the same work with his mother. He earned a meager income like his mother to support a family. In the case of Sakal, several years of education added to the quality of labor. This enhanced his total productivity. Total productivity adds to the growth of the economy. So see, he not only he was benefiting from his labor, not only his wages were going up, but with his wages, what was happening? He was also adding to the total productivity of our country's economy. This in turn pays an individual through salary or in some form of his choice. In case Vilas, there could not be any education or health care in the early part of his life. He spends his life selling fish like his mother. Henceforth, he draws the same salary, unskilled laborer as his mother. So situation remained the same in Vilas's case. There was no change for him. Investment in human resource via education and medical care can give high rates of return in future. This investment on people is the same as investment in land and capital. So this is what is it mean by saying how the investment in physical capital and human capital are similar. Because when you invest into physical capital, when you invest into human capital, it might take some time. The investment is initially big, and later both become very, very productivity. Now a child too, with investments made on her education and health, can yield a high return in future in the form of higher earnings and greater contribution to the society. So if you are investing in a child, a parent is investing in his future, in his education, definitely that child is going to be productive and going to contribute to the society. Educated parents are found to invest more heavily on the education of their child. This is because they have realized the importance of education for themselves. But when we talk about the other set of parents who think that education is not important, there is a contrast of parents. They themselves have been uneducated, they themselves have been unhygienic, so their children also face the disadvantage of having uneducated parents. Now they have given a very good example here of a country like Japan. They say that Japan lacks in natural resources because it is a volcanic island and Ark Island, and how they are suffering from so many earthquakes and everything. So what have they done? They lack in resources, but they keep importing the natural resources they need for their country, and they have invested on people, especially in the field of education and health. And what have they done? If they are investing in education and health, then what does it say? Obviously this country is forming a human capital. So these people have made efficient use of other resources like land and capital. Efficiency and the technology evolved by people have made these countries rich and developed. So when you are investing into your population through education and through health and making them more skilled and knowledgeable, definitely we will also see our country growing, a rich country as well as a developed country, and not an underdeveloped country. Okay, so this was there for this first session that I took. So we have just gone through these. First, you now I hope understand what is liability and asset when we talk about a population. That is the core idea of this chapter, that how you have to turn a liable population into an asset by giving them education, healthcare and skill. You've understood that what is the difference between human capital and human resource. So a population which is unproductive, unskilled, not giving significantly contributing to your country is a human resource. Once it is educated and becomes productive, it is called a human capital. I hope you are clear with the gross domestic product and gross national product. So any good services happening in your country will be added into GDP, okay, be it any person from any nationality, okay. But the gross national product, so this is where the output is taking place. But gross national products means what? It will only focus on the आउटपुट ऑफ द इंडियन नेशनल्स. सो इंडियन नेशनल कहीं पे भी हो, कनाडा में हो, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हो, कहीं पे भी हो, तो उनकी जो भी अर्निंग्स होगी, जो भी उनकी प्रोडक्टिविटी होगी, दैट विल बी एडेड इनटू योर कंट्रीज GNP. Okay, now they have also given you a story of Sakal and Vilas to understand the very importance of that, how one child was transformed into a human capital, and how these two children, one was a part of a virtuous circle and how one was a part of the vicious cycle. And they have also given you an example of the country of Japan, that how they are lacking in natural resources, but they are investing into people there in their country, and they are using land and capital wisely, and they are becoming rich and developed. So I hope you are clear with this much part of the chapter. Now in the next part, I'm going to take economic activities by men and women, and definitely will take up quality of population. So what are the factors that improve the quality of population? That is education, and that is health, and then we are going to talk about unemployment. Okay, so we will see you next. If you like, you like. If you want to share, you share. If you want to watch, you watch again and understand, and then I'll take up the queries during the class. Okay, so bye for now. Take care. See you.